What's up, guys? This is Mr. Branham. Today we're going to be learning how to make a sprite for a video game using a website called Pixel Art. Alright, so for this assignment, this lesson, whatever, we're going to be using a website called Pixel Art. I showed this to y'all yesterday. We were kind of just playing around, and that's just some stuff that I created yesterday. You've got your pencil tool, and you can draw things out. You've got the line tool, and you can do it in a straight line. So I'm clicking and dragging, getting a straight line. I can make circles, as you can see from what I got with my little guy down here. You can use the bucket tool if you want to fill things in, and I'm going to show you some issues that you might have with that in just a little bit. But you've got all these different options, all these different tools and things that you can use. Okay. So the main things that we've been using here are the pencil tool, the eraser tool, the different square and circle, and the paint bucket tool. Those are the main pieces that I'm going to recommend using for this assignment. You can certainly use the other ones, but you might run into some problems. So just use your discretion. You can do Control-Z to go backwards, just like you can in Illustrator or anything else. One of the main things that's different about this than from the other programs we've been using is how you select and move things. So because this is made up of pixels, and so every single square, as I zoom in here, every single square is made, it's either a color or it's not, okay? And so it's not made out of an object, it's made out of those, like if this was in Illustrator, that would be a square that I could select, and I can click on that one thing and move it, all right? So this is the selection tool in here, and what you can do is you click and drag, and I am selecting all of those pixels, so I can move it like that, okay? I can delete it, but if I did the same thing with like this, then I'm not getting all of my pixels, so it's a little bit harder to select things. Just be careful and be aware of that. All right, so the assignment for today that we're working on is we are trying to make a character. We're trying to make a person. We're trying to make a sprite for a video game. If you don't know the word sprite, I've also posted a link to a YouTube video that talks about what sprites are, but basically Mario and Sonic the Hedgehog and all of those different things, all of the different characters and things that you can interact with that are not just a static background, those are called sprites. All right, so today I want to create a character that we're going to have in our hypothetical video game, and so we're going to make a sprite, okay? So for this, I will show you just a couple of problems you might run into. If I was going to just make this be a smiley face, cool, smiley face, guy. And I'm going to do my paint bucket tool, and I can go over here and pick my yellow. And when I click this, it fills in that color, which is great, except it filled in his eye also. All right, or her eye, I don't know. So this is the problem because this is open here and this is open here. All right, so I'm going to go back with my black and just fill that in. Nope, I have to have my pencil tool selected, and I'm going to fill that in and fill that in. So now, and I don't have to select it like I might have to if I was in Illustrator. All right, I can just click. Let's not do that color, like that. Okay, and I can make this be white and fill that in and fill that in. Okay, so this is something that I was playing around with, and we're going to hit fast forward here, and I'm going to show you what my finished product looked like. So this is how I would do this assignment if it was presented to me. If somebody said, Mr. Branham, I want you to make a character, and I want you to create a backstory for that character, and I want you to tell me about him, this is how I proceeded with this. Okay, so this is my guy. We'll talk about his name in just a second because I want to kind of go through my process of naming him. This is my guy, and he is a little bit crazy. He has a snake. He lost an arm, and he has a snake arm. He is a good guy, but he is also just a little bit on the crazy side, and like you can't really tell if he's happy or just a little bit insane, and that kind of plays into how he acts and how he plays and how the story progresses. Okay, so that's just a quick overview of who this guy is. All right, and the example that I gave in my class was this is like if I was going to tell you about Mario. Okay, there's a guy named Mario. He's a plumber. He's in this other world, and he's there's all these people that he fights, and you can go into the pipes and go to a different area, and he's trying to save the princess, and Bowser has captured the princess, Princess Peach. Okay, so that's like the story of something you're familiar with. Okay, so but this assignment here, I'm wanting to do just like. It's about creativity, okay? So my guy here is not fantastic, all right? His arm, I'm not really sure what's going on with his arm, right? He's wearing tights, but I'm not exactly sure how his body works, okay? Um, the arm here was actually created from a little bit of a happy accident because drawing hands is hard, and so I was like, well, then I'll just give him a claw. And when I gave him a claw, I was like, that kind of looks like a snake, and so I turned it into a snake. Okay, that is the deep backstory of this character. So then, look, when you're doing design, a lot of times you're making something, and then it's like the story kind of develops as you go. All right, so cool, I made it, and I like it. I want to have like a lobster claw. No, I like that being a snake. So the snake, does he have a snake arm? Is the snake attached to his arm? What's the deal with this guy? Okay, so going through a process here, talking about this with some of the students, and just talking to people, kind of getting a feel for them. Okay, I started out, I want to give this guy a name, right? This guy needs a name. And I'm looking at him like, man, this guy kind of, like maybe Carl, Steve. I'm like, those are really kind of boring, basic names. I mean, no offense to the Carls and the Steves in the room, but if you had a snake arm, you'd probably have something a little bit more complicated than Carl. Okay, so Carl's a perfectly fine name for you as a person. It's not a fantastic name for this person right here. So then I'm thinking about, okay, reptiles. And just, who, like different types of reptiles. What's a cool reptile? What's a cool name for a reptile? And I'm like, kimono dragons are pretty cool, right? I like kimono dragons. They're a little crazy, but they're awesome. And so that works. Okay, so maybe I'm going to call this guy Kimono. So I've been calling him Kimono. I'd like to introduce the world to Kimono. Okay. And so kimono, and I'll start thinking about, okay, so the biggest thing that's kind of a thing about him is this arm. Okay, so here's what happened to Kimono. Kimono was hanging out with his brother Bartholomew, who may or may not be a mule at this point. I haven't decided. Okay, so he's hanging out with his brother Bartholomew, and then Bartholomew got kidnapped by the evil Dr. Science. All right, and so the evil Dr. Science came and kidnapped Bartholomew and took him away. And in the process of that, our hero here, Kimono, he lost his arm. Okay, he in the fight, he's trying to save his brother, and he lost his arm. And the snake saw Kimono, saw that he needed help, and he came over, and the snake can talk, and they're so they can interact with each other, and he actually acts as his arm. Okay, so it's like his arm is missing, but the snake is there, and so the snake can be used to like attack things or pick up things. It may be like a whip. It may be like there's a lot of things that I can do with this character from a video game point of view, and from a storytelling point of view with the snake arm. Okay, I'm looking at part of what we were talking about with this. It almost has like I don't know if you've ever played the game Ratchet and Clank. So we're doing a little bit of like Ratchet and Clank, where there's like the two people interacting with each other. Okay, it also has a little bit of a Banjo-Kazooie vibe to it. Okay, so here is two people, two creatures that are interacting together that have a mutual goal, or one is just wanting to help out the other one. So there's a lot of storytelling that can happen between these two things here. So it's not just here's a guy named Carl and he's missing an arm, or he was born with a snake arm or something like that. Okay, I've got a little bit more backstory to that. Also, the snake's name is Sam, so this is Kimono and Sam. They together are Kimono and Sam. All right. So here's what I want. This assignment, I want you to create a character on pixel art. Okay, and I've shown you that you don't have to be talented at pixel art to make a character. All right. I want you to save that file and turn it in to the assignment where you create your character. And then I also want you to create a backstory for your character. I want you to write, what is their motivation? What are they trying to do? What are they trying to accomplish? Who's the bad guy? Okay, we're talking about world building and, what is the world like? Well, there's a world where there is a snake who is sentient and can go and be a part of this person and decide to help this person on their adventures. And also the person is, not really like a person, So play with it. Have fun with it, all right? And I want you to need to write at least an intro to that. I want at least 5 sentences describing your character and the world that they live in, okay? So that's what I'm looking for on this assignment. Hopefully we get some good stuff, and we'll go from there. Thanks, guys.